Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Fire Up. I don't know if we're all fired up as late as it's getting tonight, but hey, I'm ready for a good show. How about you, gentlemen?
I am. Here we go. I'm ready.
Great. Let's get it.
Let's get it.
Crap's
The only
happening
thing,
all across the NFL.
the only thing is I'm going to start on a somber note, and it's because of my ties. You guys all know I am a Packer
Yep.
fan, and if you don't know
Holman,
Bob Harlan,
Harlan.
so
I knew it was an H name.
it
Give me
is.
credit.
This was the announcement from the Packers president, CEO Ed Policy. The Packers family was saddened to learn of the passing of Bob Harlan. Bob was a visionary leader whose impact on the franchise was transformational. From his inspired hiring of Ron Wolf to turn around the club's on-field fortunes of his tireless work to redevelop Lambeau Field. Bob restored the Packers to competitive excellence during his tenure and helped ensure our unique and treasured flagship NFL franchise was on sound footing for sustained generational success. We send our deepest sympathies to his wife, Madeline, and the entire Harlan family. One thing I will tell all of you, if you didn't know this, he was 89 years old. He is one of the most important figures in Packers history. He retired in 2008 as the winningest president in NFL history. He still is the only person in league history to hire two different GMs that won Super Bowls with different rosters in 96 with Ron Wolf and in 2010 with Ted Thompson. So rest in peace, Bob. You left your mark on the Packers organization, and we're grateful.
And on the NFL.
Yes. Yes.
You can't say anything bad about him. You know, I can talk bad about the team all I want, but you can't say anything bad about Bob Harlan.
I appreciate that. I can go with that. You know, we're rivals in the division, so I get that.
Yep. That's why I left it at that. I was,
yeah.
I've tried to explain that. I said, how do you work with a Packers fan as somebody who's over you? I said, it's not that bad. I said, we're decent human beings. We understand it's not personal attacks. Do we talk a little smack when our team beats the other one? Yes, 100%. But that's the way it's supposed to be.
We respect each other, and I think that's the main thing that we're teaching others, that you can have different viewpoints, but you can still respect the person.
And we have a mutual hate of the Bears, so we're okay.
That's true. That is true. Oh my goodness. Well, there's been a kind of a flurry of activity now in the NFL, even though we thought this was like the down part of the season. You know, the combine is over. I mean, but
by the way, Jack Wagons is a compliment from the Pittsburgh area, from Yinzer there. That's not a bad thing.
Okay. It's good to know. Good to know.
If he ever calls us a jag off, that's not so good.
That's okay. So, were we surprised by DJ Moore being traded from the Bears to the Bills?
I actually said this might happen with the emergence of Luther Burden and Romeo Odunze last year, because he does have a high cap hit. They're over the cap. The surprising thing is what happened the day before. Drew Dahlman retiring at 27 years old when he just got that huge three-year deal. In his second year, he decides to call it quits. We have not heard from him or his agents on what, hey, Broski Bear, but one of the only Chicago Bear fans other than Ken the Bear fan that I respect a lot is Broski Bear, because we've talked back and forth, and yeah, we smack talk during the season like any fan of the opposite team would.
Right.
But we actually talk football. Yeah, I know. We talked about it ad nauseum there for a while, and everybody's like, oh, that's not going to happen. I remember it in the chat, broski. But it made sense, because that clearing of that now puts the Bears at $35 million under the cap ceiling of $308.3 million. And that's huge for them because now they got enough to sign all of their rookies when they draft them, because that's 18 million gone. Everybody has to remember 18 million comes off the books is what the NFL charges each team for the rookie salary year. So that's gone. The rest of it is probably going to be their center they need now. I would think. I think that's a bigger need, and they'll have to attack defense through the draft. And one of the guys they could get is some of the same ones that we've been. Let's see. It says Phantoms fan Kayla. Hello.
Oh.
I was thinking Cade Mays or Tyler Bidays, either one of them, because Tyler Bidays being cut by Washington. He's got a little bit of guaranteed money on his contract now, so that'll make him a cheaper signing, whereas Cade Mays is young and going into his second, and he may cost a little bit more. Seth McGovern is the other one, right? Or is it Connor McGovern, the center of the Bills, that hasn't been
mentioned? Connor McGovern.
Connor McGovern,
center of the Bills.
Name. Give me credit. There's a lot of that are going to be. Yes, it was a great trade for the Lions. It only cleared $1.9 million in cap because Monty wasn't making that much money, but he didn't look like the same player last year, and part of that was due to the O-line, and the other part was because of his age. He's 29 and about to turn 30. That's where we start to see that fall off. Unless you're Frank Gore or LaDainian Tomlinson, or Adrian Peterson, you fall off at 30 years old. Those are the only guys that's truly been productive at 30 years old in the NFL in history. So I don't know if he'll be the center for years. Yes, he had 0 sacks last year and 377 snaps through 10 games, but he was supposed to be a brick wall is what his prospect list said in the run game, and he wasn't. Or Woody Marks would have had a better season and they wouldn't have needed Monty. What I find is odd, Monty went from a team that was 23rd in O-line protection in the run game to a team that's 32nd. And they just traded away their starting left guard and a guy that started 10 games at center last season. I don't get that mentality. If you're having issues and those guys weren't the big issues, why were they traded?
Right. Were we surprised by Minnesota letting Aaron Jones go?
No, that was a cap room thing too. Aaron Jones, the writing's on the wall. They're $44 million over the cap. That takes care of 20 of it, or almost 20 of it over 2 seasons. Let's get that right. I think what was he getting, like $9 million a year? I think it was
7.75 against its cap, while Hargrave will free up 10.9.
Right. They cleared up 20 with all of the 3 defensive tackles and Aaron Jones. And what's funny is there was another guy that did a post on Twitter saying he wouldn't mind being traded to where he could wear royal blue and yellow. A star wide receiver on that team, Justin Jefferson. And basically the Rams took them out of that running with the trade they made.
And what trade did they make?
They traded with the Kansas City Chiefs for cornerback Trent McDuffie, and they gave up the 29th pick, a 5th round pick, a 6th round pick, and next year's 3rd. Less need for whatever he does. He trades for established 1st round picks when he makes his trades with the 1st round pick. And he says, F those picks, let's buy another Super Bowl. That's what he says.
Yeah, well, I think the other nugget that not enough people are mentioning is they still have a 13th overall pick in this year's draft.
Right.
So
they have that trade from last year.
Yeah, they have they kept their more valuable of their 2 picks and got a Pro Bowler in the process.
Right.
So
the other thing is it makes sense on the Rams side because Jimmy Lake was the defensive back coach where Trent McDuffie went to college.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a reunion there, familiarity, and McDuffie is actually from California growing up. So it's kind of like a homecoming and a reunion for him.
Nice.
And all things considered, I know he's had some injury concerns with his ACL come up recently this past week, but they could draft Caleb Downs with that 13th pick, and their secondary would be set.
I understand that, and I'm at that point when it's a degenerative ACL disease is what he has. It's the same one that Will Johnson has. And it's the same reason why Will Johnson fell to almost the second round. I think he did fall to the second round, right? Didn't he go to Arizona in the second round? And everybody said it's not a question of if it'll happen. It's a question of when. How you doing, Yoli? It's good to see you. Michael Edwards, good to see you, brother. I didn't know if you'd be on tonight.
And I was actually going to talk about the Bills angle of the DJ Moore trade, and
Sure.
I do think they did overpay when you give up a second round pick. I'd say his value is somewhere around a third or fourth, but when you're the Bills, Josh Allen is now 29 years old. He's taken a beating the last few years, so you're thinking how many years of his prime in this contending window do they have left? So they're at this point, their concern is they're trying to get the most they can out of it. And DJ Moore, all things considered, has played in all 17 games each year since 21. He did have a down year, over 50 catches, 680 yards, and 6 touchdowns. But I think, as you mentioned earlier, there just wasn't a fit for him in that Bears offense anymore with all the young weapons they have, especially Colston Loveland, who I think is going to break out.
And Luther Burden emerging.
Luther Burden.
Yep. And so let's not forget DJ Moore is being reunited with the offensive coordinator that used to be at the Panthers when he had his 2 most productive years. Mm-hmm. Joe Brady was the offensive coordinator then. So that's a reunion of familiarity. They know how each other works.
Yeah. And then I was going to mention that it gives Buffalo that number 1 caliber threat on the outside that they clearly didn't have last year. You saw it in a lot of their close games or games that, could have gone their way if they had that. They couldn't get big conversions and late in the game, like New England when they were in Buffalo, Atlanta, Houston, Philadelphia. Maybe 2 or 3 of those games turn out differently if they have that Stephon Diggs on the outside like they had for years.
So I think this means that when it comes to free agency, we're going to see Tyreek Hill probably go back to KC when he emerges at the end of October and finally able to play after healing. And you're probably going to see Mike Evans maybe with the Patriots. I think that makes more sense.
I know Ian Rappaport was mentioning earlier, he's talking about a lot of Patriots and A.J. Brown.
Yeah, but they have to trade for him unless he's cut, because he's on the trade block.
Yeah.
The team that makes more sense to trade for him, and nobody's going to like this, is probably the Raiders, because I don't think they'd have to give up a first-round pick to get him with what's going on in Philly and how he's been in there.
Yeah. I think the difference is that the Raiders are still maybe a year or 2 away. They're still in that rebuild. So I don't think they're in a position yet to be giving up picks. So they're not going to give up their first pick, but I think Philadelphia is going to want at least that second round pick. And that's going to be the 33rd pick.
The competition rules committee is coming up soon, right? Isn't that just before the draft they do that? Where they decide on new rules that are going to come into this season for the NFL? You heard what one of them is, right? There's a bill on the table to change it so you can trade your draft picks up to 5 years out total. So 4 years ahead. If that happens, the Raiders are in a position to do that because they could keep the next 2-year picks and trade further out, is what I'm getting at. You would just have to give higher compensation than what you normally would. If it'd be a 3rd rounder, you'd have to give a 2nd. If it's a second rounder, you'd have to give a first. You know what I'm saying? Because it's
Mhm.
that far down the road. That's what that's going to equal. And everybody's like, well, why would somebody do? You are mortgaging far down the future instead of your immediate future, so you can still make an impact and maintain your team's integrity and be competitive. And I think it's actually kind of smart. You're going to start seeing more moves like you see in the NBA.
Yeah.
So did you guys just see that the Houston Texans signed pass rusher Danielle Hunter to a 1-year, $40.1 million extension?
Yeah. I mean, it makes
Fully
sense.
guaranteed.
I mean, it
You know
makes
what
sense.
that means they don't have to do in the first round now? Because that's what everybody was saying. If Danielle Hunter goes, they have to go defensive end in the first round. Now they can address what they actually have to. O-line. That
Offensive
O-line
line.
is atrocious. By
Yeah.
getting Danielle Hunter back, that gives them a year where before they have to really worry about it, they can take a project player later on, like in the 4th, 5th, or 6th round. Oh, wait, they don't have a 4th.
Interesting. Yeah.
But I'm not wrong on that. You know, you could grab somebody a little further down the line, like Tariq Sapp didn't run the drills because he was automatically considered a late day 2, mid day 3 pick by the rounds that they had him at. They had him at a late 3rd, I think it was mid 5th. So they could take somebody like Tariq Sapp in the 5th round. They could, or go Jamon Tapp out of southeastern Mississippi. Those are all those bigger guys, because that's what you're going to want opposite Will Anderson. And when it all comes said and done, you're going to want those bigger power rush guys, you know, the 6'3" to 6'5", 270+ pounders on the defensive end.
Mm-hmm. Any other trades you guys thought were interesting?
Any interesting trades? Necessarily no. I don't know if I'd expect the trade market to be as active this year, especially with it seeming like John Spicek, as we talked about earlier, it seems like he's doubling down on not trading Max Crosby. And that kind of felt like if it were to happen, that would be like the one marquee name that would come off the board. What I did find interesting is I don't understand the thought process of what the Bengals are doing with Trey Hendrickson at all.
They didn't franchise tag him, which was
They could have traded him during the season when it was clear they were not going to have a shot at the playoffs. They could have traded him last year when he was coming off of a career year when he had 15.5 sacks and led the NFL. You could have, like, even when he was 30, 31 years old last year, you could have potentially gotten a late first for him. Maybe like a late first for him at that point. Now you're about to let him walk for nothing.
And I think I know where he goes, because he's not going to be getting that 30-40 million he was expecting anymore after taking that injury that took him out the last 6 weeks of the season. He's probably going to get closer to 15 to 20 million.
I think one good destination, if they were to pursue it, would be Carolina.
Or the Bears.
They've got some young guys on their defensive end, and maybe as they develop, they can add him in the mix.
They need somebody opposite Montez Sweat in Chicago. Bears fans have talked about it. Just like everybody says that we need somebody here opposite Hutchinson. We don't have the cap room unless we clear 4 guys and restructures in the next couple of days. But we haven't even started the first one, the one that would clear the most cap and get us the most room right now, to where we're not as worried. And I know that Xavier McKinney freed up $9 million for the Packers in his restructure.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. There hasn't been much of restructures with the Minnesota Vikings yet. There haven't been any with the Lions. There really haven't been any with the Bears. The Bears did it by getting rid of people. One on accident, and the other one, well, this does it. This gets us right. And kudos to them. But why are the GMs in the North so afraid to restructure somebody if they say they're the guy?
Right. Maybe they don't know if they're for sure that they're the guy. That's the only thing I can think of, but there's going to be a lot of free agents coming out here.
There's always, especially some wide receivers. It's wide free agent and draft class for wide receivers is deep.
Yep. There's
if you
actually a
look
bunch of quarterbacks. I mean,
at,
not
if you
first string.
look at who everybody was targeting this year at the draft. If you look, a lot of teams were actually targeting the same position groups: defensive backs, linebackers, DNs, and trenches. Why? Everybody knows that the best quarterback's going number one.
Mm-hmm.
Now next year will be a different story because
Oh yeah.
you could
Next
see
year it'll probably be
2024
like that 2000. It'll be like the 2018 year all over again. The year
like
they called the year of the
2024.
quarterback.
Be like 2024, and you had 6 score in the first round, even if some might have been overdrafted.
Some we know one. May I name them?
JJ McCarthy.
Amen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And with 10 picks and or 9 picks, let's count 9. Says I'm not going to count 242 till I see it come up as the compensatory pick. I think it is. But our last pick technically is 221 in the 7th round. So if you look at all of that with 9 picks, you can do a lot with 9 picks if you do it right. And it doesn't even have to be the edge piece right off the rip. I think the first 2 days we should go O-line. We saw what happened. Ragnow retired. We lost Kevin Zeitler. We had a rookie who played almost as good, but not quite. But the other side was a question mark. One guy couldn't stay healthy, and the other guy was just okay. And then the other one that came back healthy looked good, but it was a limited snap count. So we got to secure the anchor position. We cut Graham Glasgow. That cleared up another $5.5 million. I think we're sitting $3.5 million over the cap still. Just restructuring Goff will put us in as good, if not better shape than what the Bears are sitting at right now, because his cap hit this year is $69.6 million. And that's because of the bonus structure and the way they moved it all to the 3rd year and everything else. His cap number's low. Everybody's like, oh, it's low. I was like, no, what counts against the cap is high. His actual cap number is low. What he would actually make his salary. Restructure that, spread it out over 4 years. If you want to change that bonus into 100% over 4 years, it'll actually make it to where we clear almost $40 million.
Hey, Will, it's been a while.
And everybody says the cap, that's why people say the cap is a myth. It's because of these guaranteed bonus structures that these players have that make it seem like a myth, because all they got to do is say, oh, let's just move the money here. They're still getting it. It doesn't change their game check. It doesn't change how much they make per game because it's all bonus structure.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense how I worded it?
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, 100%. But it's making those right picks and having those right picks stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Your 4 picks in the top 100, if you hit similar to what we did the year we got Gibbs, Campbell, Branch, and Laporta, and I'm talking about for your needs that year. If you hit your needs and they stay that healthy and perform that well, it's a home run draft.
Yeah, the Packers aren't looking very pretty, but with the draft, they don't have any 1st round picks, so
They don't have a lot of cap space either, right?
No,
And they're
clearing
gonna
up
lose jobs,
McKinney. I think it gets them to either just under or still just barely over the cap. I think they still got a little room to move with that $9 million they freed up with McKinney.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I remember right, the least over the cap was us, and then it was the Bears. But that money that they saved off of Dahlman retiring because they put all the bonus in year 1, it got them close, and then this move puts them at about $35 million over under the cap now.
Let's see. Open cap space.
They haven't updated it yet. I was looking earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, with them restructuring McKinney, that helped, but Yeah, but they don't have a lot of draft picks. They don't have anybody in the first round, so it'll be interesting. But there's a lot of free agents that it'll be interesting to see who we keep and who we don't. Let's see. The Packers lost a lot more than just Haley. They lost a lot of coaches if you look at how many the Dolphins took. But
yeah, Halfley.
Yeah,
they lost Halfley. They lost their offensive coordinator, a couple of the different position coaches, the secondary QB coach that went to be an offensive coordinator somewhere. They lost a lot. They had almost as much coaching turnover as the Lions had last season. And realistically, to think it'll just be ho-ha the same, well, we thought the same thing as Lions fans.
Yeah, we also lost Rich Bisaccia for special teams, so we lost all of them.
Yeah, he just went to Clemson, correct?
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
From one year to the next, yes, it does look like he lost a step.
You just never know.
So this is just not too long ago. The Bears did just cut Tremaine Edmonds. So that's going to free up $15 million in cap space for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yep, they did. That he was slated to earn $13.9 million. And
so now, there is one other thing we got to talk about. 4 franchise tags were used. I'm going to name the 3 players that got the exclusive tag, and you tell me which one sounds wrong. Kyle Pitts, Breece Hall, and what was the other one? I can't remember. I know that the transitional tag was Daniel Jones, but there was one more that got the tag.
It's Kyle Pitts, Breece Hall, George Pickens.
Out of those 3, which one sounded like why when you heard it?
Oh, Alec Pierce. I think never mind. He's going to
Alec Pierce is set to be a free agent.
He's going to be a free agent. So I think the one, if you ask me, considering their price tag, that sounds wrong, is Breece Hall. And 100%. He had a productive rookie year, but then of course he had the Achilles tear. He had a down year in 23, which is expected for that injury at his position. Had another down year in 24. And then in 25, he did rush for over 1,000 yards, did average about 4.5 yards per carry, but
nothing like his rookie year.
And that's going to be a $14 million franchise tag.
Yeah. Let me look.
If he were to hit the open market, he would get significantly less than $14 million. He'd probably get somewhere around $7 to $9 million, $7 to $10 million if he were to hit the open market.
1 year, $14.293 million.
Yep. Now the transitional player of Daniel Jones, and it makes sense for Indiana because he's probably not going to be back towards the end of October after his injury. So what they did was they put the transitional tag, which means if a team wants him, they have to pay over that cap amount for the year, plus give draft compensation. I don't think nobody is going for a guy that'll only play 2/3 of the season. No one's going to pay him more than $37.833 million. I just don't see it. Do you?
Yeah. No.
So, and if they did, they'd have to give him draft compensation. And I think with a QB that played as well as Daniel Jones was doing, I think they'd probably have to give a first and a third with it.
Yeah. And then in case of Dallas, the tagging Pickens in their case makes sense because it gives them time to work out a long-term deal. So recently they restructured Dak, they restructured CD, and they restructured Tyler Smith. They were $55 million over. Now they're cap compliant or under the cap by $11 million. So it gives them a little more leeway to work out a long-term deal, maybe work out some more restructures. He's going to want around 35 to 40 million, and he's worth it. Now,
I thought I saw that it cleared up a total of $66 million.
Yeah, because they were 55 million over.
Oh, okay.
We cleared up 66 million, so now they're 11 million under.
Well,
Now,
the way Adam Schefter worded it the other day, that it cleared $66 million of cap space, is the way they worded it.
Right.
And I was trying to see, well, does that mean they're that far?
Oh, so it doesn't mean they're 11 million over or 11 million under.
Okay. So I still think that means they're gearing up for another trade. Because they got the 2 picks from the Packers, they got the 2 picks from the but I mean, they gave 2 picks to the Jets, right? They gave their later picks.
Yeah,
if
they're
I
later.
remember right.
Mm-hmm.
And they did this. I think they're gearing up to make another trade.
Depends on for who.
The name that everybody thinks isn't going anywhere.
Crosby.
I think they're going to try.
I think they'll definitely try. I just don't think Vegas will budge at this point.
I think Vegas is adamant they're not trading him. And if anything's going to happen, it's going to happen close to the deadline.
I want to go back to this comment. Is the salary cap and all the shenanigans that go into it every year not the most confusing part of sports anywhere? I don't think it's the most confusing thing. I think you're going to find, like baseball, I think the lockout next year is going to really open eyes because I think there's going to be some caps next year that in baseball. So is that the most confusing? No, I don't think it's the most confusing. But
so far, from what I've heard out of Raiders camp, every trade that's came in, John Spytek has been shooting it down. And I don't think he's going to the Bears. That was not one of his places he said he wanted to go. He named places he wanted to go. One of them was the Rams, and I think they're out of the picture with giving up their first-round pick this year, getting Trent McDuffie. It is fun, Broski Bear. We talk about it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're in big business, it's no different than when somebody gets that big signing bonus for an executive, but then you see their salary isn't that high. Oh, okay. If it happens, it happens.
Oh, interesting.
Samir, what's been happening with your team? Anything?
Yeah, pretty eventful week. So from rumors about quarterbacks, seen some ranging from Tua. I hope not. And then you've got Joe Flacco, who it's not ideal, but what options do we have? It kind of somewhat makes sense given that he played in Kevin Stefanski's offense in 23, put up some good numbers and helped them get to the playoffs that year when they lost to Deshaun Watson and then later PJ Walker, I believe. And then the other one is Kyler Murray. Now, if you ask me out of those three, if this new regime was not fully sold on Michael Penix and for understandable reasons, I would choose Kyler Murray on what's likely going to be a vet minimum, similar to what Russell Wilson got in 2024, Atlanta. Because
he's a Falcons fan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking at Kyler Murray's stats, and in 2024, he had passed for nearly 4,000 yards, almost a 70% completion percentage, 21 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Now, are those numbers needle movers? No, like you're not gonna make a deep playoff run with those numbers. But I mean, if he can use his mobility and if he can just manage a game, I'm not asking for much. I mean, I would take that for a vet minimum if they're not sold on Michael Penix, and then which I think we should give Michael Penix another year and then figure it out from there. And then decide in 27 when the draft class is projected to be a deep one, what we're going to do there. So with that being said, they're going to release Darnell Mooney and they're going to release Kirk Cousins. It's going to those two moves combined are going to clear up around 15 to 16 million in cap. And then if they restructure some veterans like a Chris Lidstrom or an AJ Terrell, that could give you enough room to maybe they're not going to get one of the big names in the market. Like maybe you get a Tremaine Edmonds at the right price. Maybe you get a good wide receiver 3 like Jalen Naylor. And then you can extend possibly one of Drake London or Bijan Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I knew that Crosby and Caleb were friends. That I've read.
Oh, the Rams are in on it. That's interesting. I would assume if the Rams are in on it, they would give up that Atlanta pick as well. The Raiders are definitely going to want that Atlanta pick if they get Crosby, which I just don't see happening at this point. But if it's going to be a team, I think it's the Bears.
Crazy. That's right. Who was it that traded? Yeah, you guys traded up for Pierce, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. I get one of the other things we didn't talk about at all, and I know this isn't NFL, but we do need to give out a shout out to RIP Lou Holtz.
Yes.
We didn't talk about, I mean, since I did Bob Harlan, I really need to, legendary college football coach Lou Holtz. He squeaked out nearly 250 wins and a national title while cementing himself both as one of the most lovable and unlikable characters in college football. Thoughts, guys?
Lou Holtz was Saban before Saban for what he did for college football.
I mean, I don't know much about Lou Holtz. I do know that from what I've heard, his specialty was that he was known for rebuilding programs. He was very good at rebuilding programs. Apparently, he had a big role in building Notre Dame up to what it is now, or yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he went 249, 132, and 7 over a career that spanned 33 seasons that included stops at Minnesota, Arkansas, South Carolina, and most notably Notre Dame. It was there that he won his lone national championship in 1988, capped with a win over West Virginia in the Fiesta Bowl, but highlighted by a 31-30 victory earlier in the season over Miami, one of the most notable meetings in the so-called Catholics versus convicts rivalry of the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And he also has some memorable quotes, like life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you respond to it. When all is said and done, more is said than done. You're never as good as everyone tells you when you win, and you're never as bad as they say when you lose. Yeah, he restored Notre Dame really to, I don't know if I'd say greatness, but gave them more notoriety and back to Lou Holtz cared about his players above and beyond on the field, and that is why they played so hard for him. Holtz, only NC2A coach ever to lead 4 teams to top 15 finishes at end of year. I remember his quotes on ESPN. Yes. Yeah, he did make a stop in the NFL. but that didn't last long. And like we've said here, that some head coaches are better in college and some are better in NFL, just like some offense or defensive coordinators are better as coordinators than they are in the head coaching realm. So, anything else you want to add, Jeremy, about Lou? Or are you good?
No, I pretty much said, amazing guy, amazing coach. You can't say anything bad about Lou Holtz. Rest in peace.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Did anything else about the NFL you guys want to talk about? Because we did want to talk a little bit NBA and NHL. So anything else we want to talk about NFL first? Were we good?
I think we're pretty good.
Okay.
We pretty much nailed all the obvious who's going to be free agents and who got tagged, who got traded.
Yeah, I don't know if Bears are going to get Crosby. As a Packer fan, I hope not, but hey, you never know. So, NBA or NHL? Which way you want to guys go first?
I think we can go with the NBA right now. And I wanted to specifically talk about what's going on in the Eastern Conference. So right now, it seems like Detroit, Boston. So Detroit's going to have the number 1 seed locked up unless they collapse at the end. They're 5 games ahead of Boston on that. Boston, Jason Tatum is good chance is going to come back on Friday. Now that could potentially change things if they go on a run. The Knicks are sitting at the 3rd seed, but the Cavs are only a game back in 4th, Raptors in 5th. Now, 6 through 10 is kind of where you have a log jam. So you have Philly in 6th, Orlando in 7th, Miami in 8th, Charlotte at 9, and Atlanta at 10. All those teams from the first time in how long I can remember, every team in the East that's in play-in or playoff position is over 500. Charlotte's played really well since January. They've been one of the better teams in the Eastern Conference, and if they can get in, which I think they will, they can play spoiler. They can give Detroit or Boston a potential run for their money in that first round. If they don't get into the top 6, which is a possibility for Orlando, Miami, Charlotte, and Atlanta, even Atlanta, who's on a 5-game win streak, with the way the Sixers are playing. Embiid's got injuries. Paul George is currently suspended. So who knows what's going to happen there? Now, Atlanta is an interesting one because they were 4 games under 500 at the All-Star break. They've won 5 straight. And at one point on February 22nd, they were trailing by 11 with just over 4 minutes left to Brooklyn at home. Since then, they are on a 5-game win streak. They've outscored their opponents 636 to 525. That's a 111-point differential. And they have a 22-point average margin of victory during their win streak. Now, what's special about them is they have a lot of guys who have a lot to prove, like Jock Landale is having a career year. He's been stuffed on a couple of rosters in Memphis and then Utah for the most part. Jonathan Kuminga was kind of phased out in Golden State after contributing to their championship run a couple years ago. Jalen Johnson's a first-time All-Star. Dyson Daniels, first-team All-Defense. So that can be interesting considering their strength of schedule and most of their games are at home. So it's kind of a log jam there.
Yeah, the Pistons have been on a roll. It looks like they're getting ready to lose to the Spurs in San Antonio tonight. They're down 106 to 121 with 17 seconds left.
The Spurs are playing some good ball, though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Samir's Hawks took it to my Bucks. I don't know what I can quite say about my Bucks. They've really had an off year. I think, yes, I know Giannis has had a lot of injuries this year, but I think there's also a little pressure on them, and I think, some people think they're going to trade Giannis, some people don't. I know I've also heard rumors that Doc Rivers this is going to be his last year, that he wants to retire. I just feel that the team isn't gelling as a team. And I can't put my finger on it. I don't know why I can't. But I think that's part of why they're not having the success. I don't think they're having fun as a team. And I think that really makes a difference. I think when the
Chemistry
year that
matters.
it does, and the year that the Bucks went and won the championship, that team gelled. That team had camaraderie, chemistry, you name it. And this team is just missing it. And I know they've traded away some of the different players, and it's like, well, was that good move or was it not good? But I think it proves that it's not just a star player that makes up the whole team, and that he can carry the whole team. He can do a lot, but he can't do it all. So, yeah, that's sad. March Madness is going to be coming soon, guys.
Can't wait. How did Michigan do versus Iowa tonight? Does anybody know?
They won 71-68.
Okay, good.
I would just
they already clinched the division. I was worried about if they just coast into the Big Ten series. You know what I'm saying, for the for the tournament.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I'm glad they didn't.
Nope. They're ranked third in both the AP and the coaches right now. They're having a good year. I mean, they only have 2 losses.
Yeah.
And
one of them was Duke. That's not a slouch.
Yep. And the other one was Wisconsin. And Wisconsin, it plays the good teams really well. We've had some good wins against them. We're not playing the best ball that we've played, but we've had some good wins against. And it was a close game, if I remember correctly. You didn't lose to either of those teams by much.
No, they were in those games. The one that made me 63. A believer in Michigan this year was when they came back and beat, was that Nebraska they were down 19 to start the fourth?
Mm-hmm.
That comeback made me, I already was a believer in Coach May, but that made me a believer in the team, if that makes sense.
So, yeah, their 2 losses were at home. They lost to Wisconsin by 3, and then they lost to Duke by 5. So a total of 8 points they lost the 2 games. So,
and they blowed out some people.
Yeah. Yes, they have.
And that is final 106-20 to 121. Spurs beat the Pistons.
Okay. Let me see. I want to do this.
Yeah, it was in DC, but they were considered the home team. That Duke Michigan game was in DC.
Now, I will say there's been, I don't know, I read something today that, and this kind of threw me, but Wisconsin won yesterday against Maryland. Now, Maryland is not a good team, and I get that, but they won 78-45.
Wow.
Like, that's a huge, I mean, only for, I don't know, for a college basketball team to only score 45, that kind of surprised me. They're saying that they want an investigation and all that, and I'm like, but yeah, that was a big win. And Wisconsin needs those because they're going to be one of those bubble teams. I think they're going to get in, but they're going to be a lower seed, which is fine. That's all you need to do is get into the dance. But Jeremy, you also brought up, unless Samir, do you want to talk about your NBA team or no?
NHL team.
Um,
He already talked about the NBA team, I think.
yeah, I just talked about the Hawks.
Okay, you want to talk about NHL?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't really have an NHL team. If I have an NHL team, it's mainly the Philadelphia Flyers, and I know they're playing well lately. That's all I know right now.
Well, it looks like year seven of the Yzer plan is finally working. That's all I got to say. You know, the Red Wings are sitting third overall in the Atlantic Division right now at 77 points. The Canadians are right behind them at 75. And it looks like it'll be another year before the Maple Leafs get into the playoffs. You know, it's only been since 1963 since the last time they won a Stanley Cup. Ooh. Look at your, 2 and 15 matchups and your 5s and 11s, I think it is. Isn't that the big ones?
Yeah. Yeah.
So until the bracket is set, I can't really tell you who that is yet, because every now and then we think a team's going to be the 2 seed or the 5th seed, and they end up where they don't belong. So let's see what happens. Yeah, I believe the 5-11 and the 2 and the 15 are where the most of the upsets happen. Very rarely. We saw the one time where Virginia Commonwealth upset a 1 seed. So, you know, but those instances are very rare.
You got to have your conference tournaments because some of those are automatic bids in. So, yeah, it's kind of hard to put that call. When does March Madness start?
Should be soon, if I remember right.
I was going to say, because when's the Big Ten tournament? That's got to be coming.
That's coming up shortly.
Let's see. When does March Madness start?
I just typed it in myself. Selection Sunday is March 15th. So that's in 10 days. The first 4 will be on March 17th and 18th, and the first round will be 19th and 20th.
So 2 weeks from tonight, we'll be able to talk about after the first the first couple rounds, but on this show.
Well, it'll be the start of the first round. You'll get to hear about the 4 play-in games is what you'll get to be reported on. And the other games will probably be going live while we're on.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, the women's conference tournament started this week. They start a week earlier than the men's. That's why they get done a week earlier than the men's. They do not want those finals running coinciding.
Right. Which makes sense. I like that too. You guys want to talk any more about NHL? Or are we good? You guys want to talk anything more?
I just heard a rumor and I have to check it right now. It looks like former Lions head coach Jim Caldwell passed away.
Oh, wow.
I'm researching it right now. Let's see what it says. Okay, it doesn't say it there.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything.
I haven't seen anything either.
I just checked on the Wikipedia and it doesn't show anything.
No.
Let's see.
He just gives an art talk.
I don't see anything there.
Oh, 4 days ago?
4 days.
Oh, it's a reel. Never mind. No.
Oh.
It says he passed away 4 days ago, but I haven't seen any news.
I haven't seen anything on that either. Unless it's a fate, unless it's not a legit report. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know that the news guy retired from WKYT in Kentucky, but that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I have not seen anything.
Yeah.
Somebody
Used
just
to-
asked me in a chat.
Mm-hmm.
No. He had a health scare back in 2024. That's all I see.
Oh.
But somebody did a reel about it.
Hmm.
Thanks, Andrew. Ooh, Dickie V and Charles Barkley will be announcing together in the first four. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. I think we've kind of talked a lot about it, but anybody want to talk about what's happening in their town, or we want to talk anything about World Baseball Classic because that's or spring
I
training
think
or anything?
we kind of got into that last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
We did a little
And
bit.
nothing's really changed. It just started until we get through the pool of nothingness, as I like to call it. There's not going to be a lot to talk about. I mean, I know that Kevin McGonigal in the first game for the U.S. went 4 for 4 with a homer. That's one of the Lions prospects that is playing in it, or Tigers prospect, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I guess one notable one for Venezuela, Ronald Acuna tried to challenge a strike call at the plate, but they don't use the I guess plate review system in the World Baseball Classic, so he couldn't challenge it. That's probably the only notable one that I know of. And then of course, not related to baseball, another unfortunate set of circumstances for the Braves, but Jurickson Profar just got popped again. This time 162 games for PEDs. And I would have to assume his major league career is
Talking about Profar? Yeah, it's probably done.
I agree. I think we've all really touched on all of our teams.
We have.
I think we have, yeah.
I think we touched on almost everything that's major news right now.
I think so too. I think, well, since we have done that, I think it's time to let everybody know how they can find each of you.
It's not here.
Jeremy took himself off.
I don't know what happened there. All of a sudden said, "Boop."
It's okay. We've had all kinds of technical challenges tonight anyway, so we're rolling with the punches.
Yeah, at least I came back right away. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm going to give a station break, even though this is how you can find us. My husband wrote a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth. If you want to get in the media business, this is a great book to go get. He wrote it. It talks about his 40 years in the business. Got a lot of good stories, some good pictures. Get your copy today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also the audiobook is out there, so go get either form. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where both of these fine gentlemen on tonight's broadcast actually write for us, so you can find their articles also on our website. And then if you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. Previously on Sports Wrap, we had Dennis Maruk on, which is a former Washington Capitals. We do have an announcement as well that the South Florida Tribune is proud to announce a partnership with Equine Assisted Therapies of South Florida. They are actually they're a nonprofit organization to help disabled people, and they do it through horse therapy. And so they're Scott and Molly Murphy, who is the head of that group, are going to be doing some Motor City Mad Mouse shows too. So look forward to that. So I would tell everybody, if you see the red subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, click it, like, and share with all your friends and family. Turn on those notifications so you're notified whenever we go live, because you just don't want to miss any of these great programs that we have on ours. And I would say the same. Jeremy has his YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to that as well. And again, turn on the notifications so that way you don't miss, because let's face it,
By the way, while we were live, the Chicago Bears cut Tremaine Edmonds.
I mentioned that
they're at $44 million in cap.
Yep.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier. Cleared up $15 million for them, and I wouldn't be surprised if Atlanta took a flyer or took a look at him, considering Ian Cunningham just was the Bears assistant general manager and was in the when they made that when they bought him in free agency a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, also considering he is 4 years younger than Caden Ellis and would be an ideal replacement if they do let him walk, which I think it seems like they will.
Yep. Samir, how can they find you?
So you can find me here on Thursday nights on Fire Up. You can also find me a lot of my work on the new Sideline Sports and Entertainment website that's been relaunched. I just put an article up there. And then what's
the website, Samir?
Sideline Sports and Entertainment. It's the one JB runs.
Is it dot? Yeah, but is it like?
It's dot.
Okay.
And then you can find a lot of my work on X, including that article at ATL_Samir2401. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see y'all next week.
Jeremy, how can people find you?
Well, you can find my writings about the Lions right here on the South Florida Tribune under the Motor City Tribune heading under the contributors writings. You can find me on this channel every Thursday for Fire Up with Candy here and Samir and usually Adam, but he was busy.
Mm-hmm.
I've been restructured, trust me, a couple of times, but oh yeah, I know, Broski. It's weird about the Lindenbaum thing, and I'm going to stop myself for a second just to address that, because he turned down market-setting money of Baltimore, is the report, because he wanted to hit free agency. And the rumor is it's because he wants to follow John Harbaugh. So until I see him sign anywhere else, I doubt he goes anywhere else. And they're trying hard to keep him. That's the big thing with the Ravens. Remember, they've got till the 11th to get it done. The tampering period starts the 9th. So that means they've got 3 days at least of no defiling of his mind. But you can also find me on my channel, which is Kneecap Buddying with the Motor City Lions, Monday through Friday at noon, Wednesday nights at 9:30 with my NFL Roundtable Talks, Friday nights at 9 with the Lions Fan Cave Chat, and 10 p.m. on Saturdays with the Baseball Talks.
10 p.m., really? Woo.
Hey, I got over 100 views on my first show, so I'll do it.
I got you. We had we've been doing some Saturday morning shows, and they're getting views and stuff like that. We did some shows last night, and it was over 100 views, so we'll take it.
So memes are getting more creative since AI. One that came out and it said breaking news in ESPN, and then I had to look at it, and it's a picture of Geno Smith, and it says breaking: the U.S. military is sending Geno Smith to the Middle East to help overthrow the Iranian regime. but it looked like a legit ESPN picture is the only reason why I opened it. But that's great.
Mm-hmm.
But as I like to end when I get done talking, try every day to be a better person than you were the day before. That's the only way to make the world a better place. It starts right here. And close us out, Candy.
You know what, everybody? Just have a great weekend. Do whatever you want to do. We're gonna see if we're gonna go out and hit some spring training games, possibly. So,
Awesome.
you know, whatever you guys want to do, go do it. Don't let anybody stop you. With that,
unless it's against the law, then stop yourself.
That's true. Yes, that is true. That is true. But just enjoy. And with that being said, thanks everybody for viewing. Thanks everybody that's been in the chat room. Much love to all of you. Appreciate it. And we'll see you next week. Good night.